Hola, buenos días a todos. Vamos a dar inicio con las actividades del BarCamp. Les agradezco a todos aquellos que llegaron temprano. Pues es un gusto recibirlos. Ahora el programa será de la siguiente manera. Primero tendremos unas palabras de bienvenida por nuestros anfitriones, por parte del doctor Juan Nolasco, que es decano de la región sur del TEC de Monterrey. Posteriormente tendremos la inauguración por parte de nuestro vicepresidente de T-Systems, Jorge Lezama, y enseguida pasaremos a la primera conferencia de este día. Gracias.
Muy buenos días. Muchas gracias, Juan, por la presentación. Y bueno, pues sean bienvenidos al TEC de Monterrey. Sí, aquí siempre su casa. Es una institución que es para la sociedad, creada por la sociedad y para la sociedad. Entonces sean siempre bienvenidos. Y bueno, estamos aquí en el evento de Barcode. Sí, la verdad es que es un evento bien importante y bien interesante. Y me gustaría platicar un poquito, imaginarme un escenario. Sí, a lo mejor es un poco desastroso el escenario, pero vamos a imaginarlo con fines de ver un poquito algunas aristas. Supongamos, vamos a imaginar que va un auto y de repente tiene un incidente automovilístico, ¿sí? Se dañan algunas partes del vehículo y también el conductor pues tiene algunas lesiones, ¿sí? ¿Qué tenemos ahorita? ¿Qué es lo que tenemos ahorita como medio para apoyar a esa persona que está con lesiones? Pues tenemos la opción de que a lo mejor casualmente por ahí está una persona entrenada en lo que es el primer respondiente o en primeros auxilios y sabe la metodología a seguir. Entonces lo que hace, si existe por ahí, si no nada más son observadores, pero supongamos que existe un primer respondiente, y tomaría un teléfono, llamaría a un número indicado que él ya conoce porque está entrenado, y habla y da los signos vitales donde sucedieron los detalles del incidente. Ya la operadora con esta información empieza a hacer contactos, ¿sí? Patrullas, etc. Bien, ¿qué pasaría en un mundo imaginario? ¿Sí? Llamémosle mundo digital, en el cual al momento que está el incidente y sufre daños la persona, automáticamente el auto tiene sensores, tiene red y se comunica automáticamente con la ambulancia, ¿sí? Se comunica automáticamente con el seguro, se comunica automáticamente con las personas conocidas del accidentado para avisarle que pasó algo. Además, tiene la capacidad de comunicarse con las cámaras que están por ahí cerca del incidente. Entonces, hace un análisis de la escena y manda un reporte al seguro para ir avanzando. Además, como tiene sensores en el auto, se da cuenta también qué daños tiene y de una vez manda la información al seguro para que ya vayan avanzando, ¿sí? Bien, pues esto es el mundo digital, eso es a lo que queremos llegar. Entonces, en este escenario, tanto los productos, servicios, mercados, canales y procesos son transformados a través de tecnologías digitales, ¿sí? Lo que se le conoce como transformación digital. Esto es más que automatización, va más allá, tiene que ver con procesos, tiene que ver con canales, ¿sí? Bien, y bueno, en el mundo empresarial actualmente todos hablan de transformación digital. Si ustedes van a una empresa, todos quieren hacer transformación digital. Y bueno, pues ya con este escenario y con lo que les acabo de comentar, se dan cuenta de los retos. Yo no me puedo imaginar ese escenario que les acabo de comentar sin que exista integridad de los datos. ¿Qué significa? Que los datos lleguen sin ser modificados de una fuente a un destino. Tampoco me puedo imaginar el escenario, ¿sí?, sin que haya privacidad. Es decir, la persona, después de algunos años, tiene derecho a conservar su confidencialidad de sus daños que tuvo de lesiones. Entonces también es importante cuidar su confidencialidad. Y tampoco me puedo imaginar un escenario en este ambiente digital, en este mundo digital, en este escenario digital, en el cual no tengo accesibles los servicios. Que quiera llamar automáticamente el automóvil, no, está ocupado. Perdón, más que ocupado, que también puede ser, que no hay línea, ¿sí? O que falló la comunicación entre el auto y la videocámara. Pues todo esto ya le quitaría ese mundo ideal, ¿sí?, de que queremos en este mundo digital, ¿sí? Por lo tanto, la importancia de la seguridad en este escenario, que es el escenario de la transformación digital, que es el escenario de las empresas, de lo que quieren ahorita hacer las empresas. Entonces, los negocios digitales habilitan la convergencia de personas, negocios y de las cosas. Intencionalmente aquí marcado de las cosas, enfatizando lo que es Internet de las cosas. Entonces tenemos la parte de sensores, que son Internet de las cosas, la parte de redes, y tenemos la parte de ciberseguridad. Aparte de la inteligencia artificial que está ahí para hacer el escenario automáticamente obtener información. ¿De acuerdo? Entonces, esas tecnologías que acabo de comentar ahorita, tanto la inteligencia artificial como la analítica de datos, como la ciberseguridad, como Internet de las cosas, son lo que se le conoce como las tecnologías habilitadoras de la industria 4.0, que a su vez la industria 4.0 es habilitador de la transformación digital. Bien. La transformación digital también habilita la definición de seguridad digital. Fíjese, transformación digital, seguridad digital, ¿sí? Ya que requiere, la definición de seguridad digital es que requiere de seguridad, son los elementos o el ambiente que requiere de ciberseguridad ciberfísica. Es un dominio que provee la confianza, protección y salvaguarda los ciberactivos y los activos físicos. Si se fijan, estoy leyendo esta definición, es una definición nueva, ¿sí? De hecho, Gartner, ¿sí?, en sus tendencias tecnológicas, habla de seguridad digital como una tecnología emergente a los próximos 5 años, ¿sí? Y es una extensión, la seguridad digital es una extensión de la ciberseguridad, ¿sí?, donde aparte de cuidar los activos como software, y también se preocupa por la parte ciberfísica. Bien, entonces la ciberseguridad y la seguridad digital deben de adaptarse a los cambios de negocio, y justamente la transformación digital está forzando este cambio. Y bueno, estos cambios enfrentan retos muy grandes. Entre ellos, pues el compromiso de las organizaciones a estos conceptos, ¿sí?, a entender bien ciberseguridad, a entender bien seguridad física, desarrollar toda una gobernanza política, desarrollado en una definición clara, precisa y con capacitación de las diferencias para ser precisos. Y también la falta de recursos humanos, ¿sí?, capacitados profesionalmente, porque actualmente, ¿qué es lo que pasa en las empresas? No existe suficiente capacitación en seguridad informática, en ciberseguridad y menos en seguridad digital. Entonces alguien que está por ahí desarrollando software, pues oye, ¿te avientas a hacer seguridad informática? No, pues que sí, y le aprende, ¿verdad? Y luego encontramos ahí en los reportes unas imprecisiones en los conceptos, sí, las metodologías, que es por esto, por una falta de una profesionalización de lo que hacemos. Entonces, una falta de recursos humanos es bien importante. Veo por aquí muchos muchachos, tal vez profesionistas, de preparatoria, etcétera. Les puedo comentar que en el 2020, ¿sí?, de acuerdo al reporte de ISACA, estima que van a faltar 2 millones de profesionistas de seguridad informática para este año, ¿sí? Entonces, no caigamos en el error que hemos caído, si nos interesa y nos gusta y sabemos la importancia que tiene, no caigamos en eso que se acostumbra. Estudio algo, pero trabajo después en algo porque es necesario, ¿sí? Porque es necesario. Y después voy a hacerlo a medias porque tengo imprecisiones en conceptos. Entonces, los invito a que si les interesa y saben de la importancia, de una vez se vayan empapando profesionalmente. Entonces, esos retos, entre otros, son los que enfrentan. ¿Y qué pasa con la transformación digital? O sea, la transformación digital no es algo que se haga en un año. Les dije hace ratito, las empresas ya están hablando de transformación digital. Sin embargo, esa transformación digital no se va a hacer en un año. El escenario que les acabo de poner de transformación digital requiere de años de trabajo. Se estima que los siguientes 20 años va a ser las empresas trabajar intensamente, las que ya se pusieron las pilas, trabajar intensamente en la transformación digital. Por lo tanto, ¿sí?, por esto que les acabo de comentar, la importancia de este congreso, de este evento, ¿sí? Pongamos atención a cada una de las pláticas, pongamos atención a cada uno de lo que nos va a enseñar cada quien, porque seguramente va a ser muy útil para nuestro crecimiento. Quiero felicitar, ¿sí?, a los organizadores que estuvieron aquí, ¿sí?, bueno, System, Juan Manuel Apatzin, ¿sí?, y también a Jorge Lezama como su vicepresidente, ¿sí?, y por parte del TEC, pues a Claudia Lezama también por todo este esfuerzo. Sí, la verdad es que quisiéramos que estuviera lleno el auditorio, llenísimo, por la necesidad que hay de esta área. Pero bueno, si no están, si yo sé que ustedes son buenos amigos y van a comentarlo con sus amigos y decirles de la importancia del evento. Pues muchas felicidades.
Buenos días a todos. Antes que nada, gracias al TEC de Monterrey, gracias doctor Nolasco por recibirnos. Para nosotros, para T-Systems, como ya lo decía el doctor Nolasco, el tema de ciberseguridad o cybersecurity es súper importante, es un tema al que le estamos dando mucha importancia. El doctor ya daba alguna información que sin duda es muy valiosa y habla de la importancia que tiene en esta transformación digital tener nuestros datos, nuestra información de manera segura, nuestros sistemas, nuestros procesos. Les voy a dar alguna información por ahí para abrir un poco hasta dónde llega esto. El mercado de tema de seguridad se calcula en 21.500 millones de dólares a nivel global. En el 2017 se estima que 14.500 millones de emails fueron afectados de alguna manera por temas de seguridad. Y en México se calcula que ha habido 22 millones de personas afectadas en estos temas. Uno de quizá de los más visibles recientemente fue el tema SPAY en los bancos. Todo el mundo ha de haber escuchado al menos eso, si no es que llegó a ser hasta afectado porque la noticia trascendió de una manera muy discreta y no del dimensionamiento que tuvo esto. En el INE se pusieron en la nube los datos de todo el padrón electoral, 93 millones de personas sin un password, y entonces estuvieron al acceso de quien supiera pues, la información de todos nosotros, nuestros nombres, nuestras direcciones, nuestros fechas de nacimiento. Entonces, el tema definitivamente es serio. Nosotros en T-Systems, nosotros pertenecemos a Deutsche Telekom. Deutsche Telekom es la empresa de telecomunicaciones más grande de Europa, alemana, empresa alemana. Tenemos un producto que llamamos Magenta Security, que es magenta porque es nuestro color, este rosita que ven no es rosa, es magenta. Entonces, hacemos un congreso cada año dedicado solamente a esto y por eso nuestra inquietud también de quererlo replicar aquí localmente. Agradecemos muchísimo el interés de todos ustedes. En Alemania somos el número 1. queremos ser en tema de seguridad, en Europa queremos ser el número 1 y creemos que en 2 años lo vamos a lograr. Y estamos muy interesados en este tema, invirtiéndolo. Es un tema fascinante, leía yo por ahí que es de los temas que no se va a acabar, nunca va a estar enteramente resuelto. Cuando desarrollamos un software, una aplicación, llega un momento en que podemos estabilizarlo y quizás trabajar mantenimientos, nuevas versiones, pero ya con una situación muy estable. Aquí no, aquí cuando sentimos que ya llegamos hay alguien que va delante de nosotros, entonces es un tema apasionante el estar pensando adelante ahora sí que como diría el presidente del país vecino, en los bad guys, que todo el tiempo están pensando adelante de nosotros en estar haciendo hoyos y nosotros cómo estarlos tapando, más bien en evitar cómo pudieran hacer esos hoyos. Entonces, el doctor ya lo decía, yo creo que para ustedes como estudiantes es un mundo que se abre, es un mundo con 1000 oportunidades. Nosotros en T-Systems estamos todo el tiempo, no es un tema de teoría, todo el tiempo estamos buscando especialistas en esto, y mientras más especialistas mejor. Entonces, ahí hay un mundo de oportunidades. Hablando del evento, como decía yo, decía el doctor Nolasco, se ve poca gente. Yo creo que se va a llenar más tarde, yo creo que es un tema de puntualidad. Tuvimos mucho interés, había más de 400 inscritos, tuvimos que decidir por 250, que es la capacidad del auditorio. Vienen de 21 universidades, de la Ciudad de México, de Chiapas, de Querétaro, Monterrey, Veracruz, San Luis Potosí, por supuesto de Puebla. Vamos a tener durante estos 2 días 27 conferencias, que van a ser dadas por 28 conferencistas, porque una de ellas va a ser con 2 conferencistas. Y de verdad estoy muy agradecido del interés, estoy muy contento de estar aquí y agradecido con el TEC de Monterrey porque siempre hemos recibido un gran apoyo por parte de ellos para este tipo de eventos. Y para no retrasar la agenda y Juan Manuel me regañe, a las 9:19 damos por inaugurado el BarCamp 2018. Muchas gracias a todos.
Buenos días y sean bienvenidos nuevamente a este gran evento. Con gran honor me permito presentarles al doctor Francisco Rodríguez con su presentación Bitcoin An Unexpected Journey. Un aplauso, por favor.
Thank you very much. It was really, really nice, very cool. And I'm really glad to be here. And I would like to thank Juan Manuel Arruazi for inviting me to be here as a speaker. So today we will be talking about Bitcoin. And the title of the presentation is An Unexpected Journey. And the reason for this title is that that it was really unexpected the way that Bitcoin entered in the information security scene, and we will review some of the main on this technology in 10, 11 years. So let's start. About money, important concept in our society. In all civilizations, money determine value. It must be to exchange the money, to carry, difficult to be. So this is the characteristics that we want to have. There are different implementations of that precondition. Produce produce to change this in a efficient way. The best way to do it is using money. Also, money is used as a measurement unit, meaning that if you want to buy, for instance, then we want to know how much this house, what's the worth of this house. So having the concept of money help us to know what is this value. And the third characteristic that we want to have in money is that it helps us to have a deposit value, meaning that if we have the capacity of having some savings, then the way that we can have our savings is using money. So these three characteristics are the most important ones. And there are different ways to implement money. The classical one is really classical in the sense that it has been around for the last 2,000 years or even more if you count civilizations like the Egyptian civilization, or if you count our civilizations like the Mayan civilization or the Aztecs, that we used to have kind of a romantic way to implement money because we were using these some cacao beans as a money. But if you think in cash, we have several advantages. One of them, the most important one, the one that characterizes cash is the anonymity. When you have money like this, the owner of this money is whoever is the carrier of the money. And if somebody steals my wallet, then he or she is a new owner of this money. It is easily accepted in any place. You don't need technology for exchanging cash or spending cash, as long as you are in the same country. For instance, if you are talking about our pesos, Mexican pesos, then we need to be here in Mexico most probably. But if you are talking about dollars or euros or yens, then you can use them all around the world, basically. Another interesting characteristic of the cash is that it allows us to give us cash, change. So we can split these 100 pesos in smaller units of money. The disadvantages are what is the main characteristic? The person who is carrying the money is the owner, and this means that it may have a lot of security consequences. It is hard or dangerous to carry big quantities of money, and every transaction may need to be made in person. Another materialization of money that I will be talking in this presentation is the plastic money. I will call it like that. What I mean by that is credit cards or debit cards. I'm sure that some of you are very young here, and maybe since you were born, you used to have credit cards and debit cards. But actually, they were introduced in the market in the 70s. So they are not that old. The first ATM machine in Puebla, I remember it was in Avenida Juárez, maybe in the middle of the 80s. So some of the people that are here may remember. That was, as far as I remember, the first ATM machine in Puebla. So it's not a really old technology like the one that we were mentioning in the last slide, cash. And it has different characteristics. For instance, it allows large quantity of transactions. It's easy to carry and safe to use. Transactions can be done without the buyer's presence. Plastic money allows us to obtain cash from it if you go to an ATM machine, and it permits to revoke transactions in case of mistakes. However, it doesn't allow the buyer's anonymity. So if, for instance, you want to go to, say, to Cancun in an anonymous way, it is a really bad idea to pay all the expenses using your credit card because you will leave a trace of it. So it would be better to pay in cash. But again, if you are going to pay in cash, how much money you need to use in your wallet. So these are the dilemmas. It requires almost impossible to give change using credit cards or debit cards. So this is the plastic money, and these are the kind of measures of the that we are more familiar with. But the one that I will talk today is this one. Electronic money is different than the plastic money. That tries to get the best of the two worlds. Allows different degrees. The one that I will be talking more today is coins, and Bitcoins exactly another, but they say that they are pseudonymous. But there are some cryptocoins, coins, are completely anonymous. For instance, one that is called Monero, and won't have time to review in this. It is transferable, it is divisible. It has basically all the advantages from any country. This is very peculiar because talk before was mentioned that the, the information security industry is something like in the tens of millions or billions of dollars, sorry. But in the case of these coins, you will see that they are the market capitalization is in the hundreds of billions of dollars. And yet, there is no company, there is no CEO, there is no government, there is no bank behind these cryptocoins. The only thing that are behind these cryptocoins is basically the community. And this is really amazing how this could happen in just 10 years. Can be used to decentralize commercial activities, and these are the advantages. The disadvantages are that the transactions usually require higher computer resources. We will see that probably the least green industry, the opposite to the green industry, is the cryptocoins. They waste a lot of energy, and I have a slide showing you this later on. It can be used for performing illegal businesses. Probably most of you have heard about the ransomware attacks. And the ransomware attacks, usually they want to have their money back in Bitcoins. So this can be used for legal purposes. And another problem that they have, these coins, is that they show a high volatility, meaning that for instance, 1 year ago, one Bitcoin was worth 20,000 US dollars, and now is less than 4,500. So that means that it's changing. And imagine that you say that your house, for instance, the value of your house is 5 Bitcoins, but certainly 5 Bitcoins, they are not what it used to be 5 years ago. And that's a problem because we have shown that this is one of the characteristics that we want in electronic money. So talking about information security characteristics of this money, we want the following. We want that these coins should be independent from electronic devices, meaning that it can work in any a big problem that we have with these coins. Spending problem. You are going to receive these electronic coins, say, in your cell phone. What is the prevention as based? then coin, maybe copy paste, I can have a million of these coins. Basically, what I'm doing in that case is I'm replicating the coins, and then there should be a way to recognize that we avoid that one coin is used more than once. And we call this problem the double spending problem. It was a huge problem that was studied in the 80s, 90s, was never solved. It should be a non-mentioning, so we can and efficient. So we want these characteristics. You can name them, these characteristics, but how to get them is kind of difficult. The first person who thought, very famous, who is a semi-retired professor at the University of California in Santa Barbara, was thinking about this in the 80s. Based, I would say maybe 4 or 5 companies. And all these companies, and they failed. They never took off in the market. The idea of was there, like I, so if wanted to double point would be cut. In these coins, taking first the first the problem was a nightmare to avoid. It was really, really difficult to avoid that some entities maybe double spend. And the other, and it was a huge chance, same as happens in the plastic press, and they have the complete control of our credit cards. So they were saying, well, if you want to create a new model of money, this doesn't sound like a revolutionary idea. So it sounds very much like the plastic money. And in this case, again, the bank, whoever or whatever is the bank, has a big power. Centralized, never was the alternative solutions. Interest on floating, and even contact domain, the cyber, another wave of operation technology. Interesting, maybe some 10 years ago. I know this guy. He's the founder of WikiLeaks. You know, he has been living in the Ecuador embassy in London for the last 4 or 5 years because the U.S. government is really angry at him because he was releasing some videos about atrocities in the Iraq war. Now they are set up at him because he was helping Trump to win apparently against Hillary Clinton. So you may have. That was back in 2010. Addressed to weaker. If you want support weak, money to cannot use American Express, PayPal, etc. Was forbidden. That was a boycott government in 10 by this Senator McCain, if you follow his politics. So that was basically the disaster, basically meant the death of the company, of the, sorry, the organization. Just by chance, then was the first he started 1 year before that. This tweet with I did was the US government, MasterCard, PayPal, etc. Legal percent return. Okay. So now one of the richest board are backfire in a very strange way sometimes. Say the most board guy, and he published paper, but it was not in a formal crypto conference, but it was in a crypto forum. It was like in a crypto forum, bloggers presented this paper, peer-to-peer electronic paper, very little about this, but we know this paper has changed the way that computers address the technology of a breakthrough paper. Just probably Japanese language. And the question is, how can you ensure this almost impossible? Half of this guy paper, a collection of he published paper, hired like 20 engineers, created with the engine through email. If you analyze the email, it appears like Satoshi died because of these constructions. Actually, there is a theory that it's possible that Satoshi Nakamoto is just one person, because person he must be a genius in photography, a genius in economics, in financial, and also the best programmer that these guys have seen, because the engineer that he hired, they said that his programming was excellent, high quality. So another theory is that Satoshi Nakamoto several people or maybe an organization. But if you are an organization, how to manage stay anonymous for more than 10 years? It's really already hard for one person. It is almost impossible for one organization. On the other hand, we have some surveillance programs organized by the NSA, for instance, or the Russians or the Chinese. And for sure, they know. So another theory is that it could be some the U.S. government, because if you remember in 2007 and 8, there were the mortgage crisis in the U.S., de las hipotecas, and they say that some people were really mad at how the Wall Street people were getting rich, really greedy, and all the country was sinking in the economical way to think. So they created bitcoins. They created these characters, and then bitcoins. All of these are called. So what is Satoshi Nakamoto using to create bitcoins? Some technology, only key person encrypt a message to the receiver. The message is private. Private key. And sorry, this is shouldn't say sorry. But here what basic use then verification guide. Then the verification guide can determine using something. Basically, the very much more powerful than our handwritten signature. The handwritten signature is probably one of the most overhyped things in the world because we say that a person can create, but this is not true because children prove every year to their parents that they can create the same without any problem. So this is overhyped, but if we say, we are going to have the Catamaran Mexican soccer team, and the only thing that is missing is the signature plays but it's very, very easy to cheat on it. But for some, we of our brainwash, we that it's really, really protected thing to validate one person, to authenticate one person. We can do the same using cryptography, and we can do it better in principle. We can take the signee, and also we can protect the integrity. That was one thing that was mentioned by Dr. Juan Nolasco, that is essential for providing. So how can we do that? The way to do that is, of course, with the technology that is always mentioned, but it is absolutely crucial to science. Without science, we don't have cryptography. Without cryptography, we don't have security. And what we need, in the case of science, is one branch of the mathematics that is called number theory, where we have really hard mathematical problems that can be used to protect the security of the users. And many people have thought about which mathematical problems could stand for the security guarantees, and it happens that again and again they are broken, except for some few of them that have existed the proof of that. One of them is for n, try to find the two primes that times q. You factor. Well, we don't have time, fortunately, but it is a nice because the factorization of 2 times 1009 happens to be a prime. This is a huge, this is a big, how big? Well, at the digits. The about this that you are h and request the value x. H. This is a modular operation. Question for x such that the x is equal to 3 or more 419. And this is a really fair question because it's completely possible without a computer. The answer is yes. Due to the three or modulo. But you need to believe the correct answer or run to your computer and check it because it is not it. Problem is hard. We have even a harder problem. This problems for points in an elliptic curve. Next one, please. Curve is that looks like uh, what you are working with is with the set of points that satisfy this equation. And is the next in complexity after the conic curves. With these curves, next. The idea is that having a point, try to produce more points that belong to that curve by computing one operation that is called the scalar multiplication. So you take a integer and you say what is the point? If you try to do that, it's easy. So same thing that this k is the private key, the k times p is the public key, and producing the public key is the opposite. Public key trying to extract the scalar everything is really, really hard. The discrete log problem for it. And this is the security guarantees that are used by Satoshi Nakamoto in Bitcoins. So this is the elliptic curve that Satoshi Nakamoto selected for. And the security you want to break to obtain this scalar is 202 to the 128. The security. The typical key bit number key bitcoins. So there are numbers like this worth billions of dollars because this is the secret key used by, for instance, Satoshi Nakamoto or other rich guys that have bought lots of. Next one, please. Basic block. The most important building block that Bitcoins have is the blockchain, and you will have during this conference. All the record Genesis block that was the blockchain, the technology that and one client can dependent one. So you can think about this blockchain very briefly, like a database that is in cloud. For every generated, you'll see data checkbook where all the transactions and pay the technology. Every 10 minutes, we are updating this blockchain, the character charge of updating the miners. But first, wallets. You're going to use Bitcoins. You shouldn't use this impressive math. Everybody will get it it and not invested in the technology. What you have are some brokers. Applications are called wallets. And these blockchain wallets are the ones who create, manage all the transactions, Bitcoins for you. For instance, if you want to sell something or buy something using Bitcoins, then you will use the wallets. And the way that you use it in your cell phone is just you download the application, the wallet, the Bitcoin wallet, for instance, and by pushing some buttons, then you can transfer money from your cell phone to the seller, and the seller can give you the product back. Next one, please. There are different ways to produce these wallets. One of them is not having a wallet at all. So there are some companies out there that they are offering the service of keeping your Bitcoin money with them. In that case, you will enter, it will work more or less like a bancanet kind of thing. You will enter with your usuario and password, user and password. You enter there, and then you check that your money is still there. In that case, you don't keep the private keys, but your broker will do it. But then the security depends on that broker, and some brokers have been hacked. So that's why here Bart is saying, I won't use this method. Next one, please. If you don't want to use that method, then you can go to the internet and download any one of these wallets that I'm showing here. They are for free. And then you download them, and then having this client, this wallet, this application, then you can buy Bitcoins or sell Bitcoins. And then you will be responsible for the security of your Bitcoins. Remember, all the security lies in this 78-digit number. So that private key, you need to keep it in private, in secret. And if you want to become pro, then you can use these hardware wallets. They cost around $200 or something like that. They look like an USB, and they don't have an operating system. It's basically hardware. And the manufacturers, they claim that they are unhackable, that they cannot be hacked because they don't have operating system. And then your private keys lie here. You need to use another interface, software interface, to see the wallet client. Next one, please. So I was mentioning that there are some characters in the Bitcoin terminology that are called the miners. The miners are the guys who are in charge of uploading the last 10 minutes transactions around the world to the blockchain. And they are not doing this because they are good guys or they are altruist guys. They are doing this because they want money. And what Satoshi Nakamoto promised to the miners is to give at the beginning 50 Bitcoins to whoever was the winner of a very strange and weird contest that Satoshi Nakamoto created. You are running a lottery using what is called a cryptographic hash function. And that cryptographic hash function produces a random number. And just by chance, you expect that this random number starts with several zeros. Right now, at the beginning, it was only 4 zeros, then it was increased to 8 zeros. At the moment, it should start with 52 bits in zero. So the probability that happens for a random number is 1 over 2 to the 52. That means that if you are a miner, if you want to win the contest and win your tip, your propina, then what you need to do is to run 2 to the 52 hash functions in a second. Not in a second, in less than 10 minutes, because otherwise another miner will win and will load all the last 10 minutes transactions of the Bitcoin network to the blockchain. Next one, please. So it started with 50, then it was reduced to 25 Bitcoins, and now the tip is only 12.5 Bitcoins to whoever is the winner. This is the one before this. This is the only way that Bitcoin, the only mechanism that Bitcoin has for creating new coins. Whenever a miner is loading this information in the blockchain, then 50 Bitcoins were created at the beginning. Nowadays, only 12 Bitcoins and a half. At the moment, we have created, using this mechanism, something around like 18 million Bitcoins. And according to Satoshi Nakamoto paper, we should stop whenever we are able to produce 21 million Bitcoins. And that would happen in 2040. This guy is one of the big miners. He was a PhD student who didn't finish his PhD in Harvard. So what he did is he created a company, a hardware company, and what you are seeing here is some farms, they're called farms, of hardware devices that are computing constantly tera millions, 2 to the 40 hashes per second. Each one of these hardware machines. So they are consuming a tremendous amount of energy, and only one of them will win. And if you lose your contest, then there is another lottery contest every 10 minutes. So you hope that eventually you will win and you will get this tip of 12 bitcoins and a half. Next one, please. But Bitcoin then has what is called a ludicrous energy consumption, because it has been estimated that all the miners consume a minimum of 2.55 gigawatts, which is equivalent to 22 terawatts per hour, which is basically the same amount of energy that Ireland consumes per hour. Ireland, the country. So they are doing this just because of greedy, because they want to win and to get their money in bitcoins. So this technology is not green at all. This is the protocol for buying and selling things. Next one, please. Next. Yeah. So basically, the idea is the brilliant idea of Satoshi Nakamoto was that you are not acquiring coins. So if Alice wants to buy something from, say, a taco árabe from the taqueria oriental of Bob, and Bob is accepting bitcoins, what Alice will do is, Bob needs to create an address that is derived from his public key, one of his public keys. And then Alice must deposit money to that address. And the way to do it is, she says, okay, I'm transferring, say, for instance, 0.1 bitcoins to this address that Bob created. And then she uploads this information to the Bitcoin network, where eventually one miner will capture this transaction, will put it in something that is called a block, and then eventually it will get to the blockchain. So basically, if you are selling something using, and you are accepting bitcoins, you will never receive coins. The name suggests coins, right? Bitcoin. But you don't receive coins. What you receive is something that is written up there, that says in the blockchain, hey, you just have received 10 cents of bitcoins. So this is basically the protocol. Next one, please. So for instance, here is a slide where I am showing the kind of address where you need to deposit this money. But again, you are not depositing the money by itself, but you're stating that in the blockchain. So Bob the seller needs to create this kind of address, or if you are using a cell phone, this QR code, so that with a click, you can deposit, quote, deposit the money. Next one, please. If you are the buyer, then you say in your wallet, you say, okay, please place 10 cents of bitcoins in this address. Here you will put the address of Bob that was shown in the last slide, and then you say send. Here in Mexico, we have maybe some 10 ATMs of bitcoins. So I was mentioning, if you remember at the beginning of this talk, that the first ATM machine, maybe somebody can correct me, in Puebla was in Avenida Juárez in 85, something like that. But the first ATM machine in Mexico, there is a dispute if it was in Tijuana or in Mexico City, in Polanco in Mexico City. And here, this guy is basically transferring bitcoins from here to the machine, and the machine will give money back, or he can do the other way around. Next one, please. How Bitcoin has changed around the world. So what you are seeing here, in the left, maybe you cannot see, but 1 year ago, one Bitcoin was $20,000. And nowadays, look what a disaster has been 2018 for the Bitcoins. If you think about right now, one Bitcoin is less than $4,500. Next one, please. This is the distribution of the money in bitcoins, in the bitcoins address. Is that the accounts that have 100,000 bitcoins or more are only 3. Is in the last row in that table. And the one before, the addresses that have 10,000 bitcoins up to 100,000 bitcoins are 109 of them. And if you see the first row of this table, there are 15 million addresses that have less than 1 milli Bitcoin. So that means that this is really a distribution that is really parameter. Next one, please. So for instance, this is according to the Wikipedia, the richest people in the world. This is kind of old because now we know that who is the richest guy in the world? Is Bezos, right? It's the person who has more than $100 billion in fortune. You can have the same in Bitcoins. We know that there are some addresses that have 100,079 Bitcoins that is worth billions of dollars. And next one, please. But the one who has more in the world is Satoshi Nakamoto. Because Satoshi Nakamoto created the system and he was the only miner for the first 10 days of the system. So he created for himself 1 million Bitcoins. So it is believed that Satoshi Nakamoto has a fortune of 1 million Bitcoins. And each Bitcoin is $4,500. So he's really rich. But you know how much of this fortune he has spent so far? 0. If he had spent a single Bitcoin, we would know. We could trace him, and we would basically know who he is. But he hasn't spent any money so far. Next one, please. Next one. So who is Satoshi Nakamoto? The journalists have tried to chase this guy. So this is a guy who is called Dorian Nakamoto. He lives in California, and he was believed to be Nakamoto by the Newsweek magazine, but at the end they proved that he was wrong. And this guy is Craig Wright. He's an Australian who went to the BBC TV in London, and he said, you know what, I am Satoshi Nakamoto, and I can prove it. He tried to prove it, but we kind of don't believe him. We believe he is not Satoshi Nakamoto. Next one. So the mystery is still there. So now I am showing you here the Dread Pirate Roberts. He is a guy who was 28 years old when he was captured by the FBI. Next one, please. He is famous because he created the Silk Road website. Next one, please. And his name in the internet was the Great Pirate Roberts, El Temible Pirata Roberts. And Silk Road is something similar like Mercado Libre. You can buy things of second hand, but Silk Road was specialized in forbidden things. Like what? Like drugs, like hiring murders, like getting some animals in danger of extinction. And he did that for more than 3 years. Next one, please. And at the end, he was captured in 2013. Next one, please. The site was up for 2 years and months, and more than 9 million Bitcoins were transferred in that website. So this is a timeline of the Bitcoin. Next one, please. Next. So just to show you something, May 22 in 2010, the engineers who were preparing the first version of Bitcoin, they were hungry. And they decided to buy some pizzas. And the guy around the corner accepted Bitcoins because he liked the engineers. So they buy these pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoins. 10,000 Bitcoins to pizzas. That was crazy. That was in 2010. The first time that a Bitcoin was above the $1 was in 2011. And there are some other things that happened here during the years. For instance, the first time that a Bitcoin was worth more than $1,000 was in November 2013, basically 6 years ago, or 5 years ago. So this is the timeline. Next one, please. So some other information. Next one, please. There are 1,500 cryptocoins in the world. 2 of them are Mexicans. Actually, I believe that only one is actually active in Mexico. It's called, if I remember correctly, is AgroCoin, and it's the coin for for Chile Habaneros. So it's a really nice, it's a really cool coin if you want to invest your money in this agrocoin. It's the only one in Mexico in my opinion that is working. Here I have a video showing you what is the market capitalization of Bitcoins, but I will skip it because of the sake of time. So just to finish up, let me give you some forecast of what could happen with Bitcoins. It may happen that in 1 year from now, Bitcoin reaches $500 million, increasing its value several times as the value that has right now. Ethereum is a second coin that is, they say that this is the coin that is going to last because they have in the blockchain, you can sign what is called the smart contracts. I'm sure that Rocio will talk about this. And then you can create companies such as, instead of having Uber, that where you have the company in the middle of the customer and the driver and the driver can create the contract by themselves. So you will skip Uber and basically will go to bankruptcy. And the same for Netflix, and the same for Airbnb and all these companies. So maybe there will be a new crypto coin that has been created by Stanford that will be in the third place out of these thousands of coins. Next one, please. But it could happen bad things for the coins. It may happen that some of the governments, for instance, Trump doesn't like crypto coins at all, and he has promised to eliminate crypto coins soon. So it may happen that they go out of the market. So if there are these speculations in the financial world, it may happen that all these prices of the crypto coins really sink. And they might even get out of the market. This will be like the pessimistic scenarios. The one before, please. Also, they say that if Satoshi Nakamoto decides to spend his fortune, then it would be a disaster for Bitcoins for some reason that I don't understand. But they say that if it is better for Bitcoins that Satoshi Nakamoto is an anonymous guy and he doesn't spend his money. Also, an apocalyptic scenario may happen in December 2019. You know, they're saying that the quantum computers are coming, and they say that they are coming soon. If they come, then there is this very famous theoretician, Peter Shor, working for IBM at the time. He produced an algorithm that if you have a quantum computer, then you can basically destroy all the cryptography as we know it right now. So elliptic curves, RSA, everything will vanish, just like the dinosaurs when the meteorite struck the Earth. Next one, please. So all of these coins will disappear, and only a few of them will survive if this happens. One of them could be Ethereum, another one that is called IOTA, very interesting because this is a coin for the Internet of the Things, and some others. The forecast is that this guy, this is the founder of Ethereum, he will be able to prevail. This is what we believe. This is the coin that is going to prevail. So if you are a student and you are interested on this topic and you are thinking about research projects, so one project could be to modify the blockchain of Ethereum to produce smart contracts and try to eliminate companies such as Uber, Airbnb, etc. But maybe in a not so ambitious way, just trying to have a smaller context, like in video games. For instance, in video games, you can exchange tokens instead of exchanging money. And this is already happening. In agriculture, as we mentioned, photography, political campaigns, that would be interesting in this country. Digital notaries and lottery, etc. There is one thesis that we were, I was the advisor in the CINVESTAV about using the blockchain for producing secure DNS. This is a whole nice topic, and we didn't quite finish this. It was a master thesis, so if you're interested, that would be a project. Third project is to become a miner. If you become a miner, you can become rich. It is not maybe a good idea to be a miner in Bitcoin because the competition is harsh, but there are 1,500 coins out there, and you can mine one of the small coins. And if you are smart, and if you are using hardware, or at least GPUs, you may have a chance to have some money. But it's another one is artificial intelligence. You can use artificial intelligence for forecasting what would be the behavior of these coins. And that would be really interesting for the guys who are investing money on this technology. Then the Jinjan project, next one please. First, to build a quantum computer to erase from the map all these coins. But this is basically impossible in Mexico because in Mexico we are not investing in quantum computers, unfortunately. So this is not going to happen. It's not very likely that happens here in Mexico. What we can do is the Yang project is to create a quantum-resistant cryptocoin. And so even if the quantum computers arise, then we will be prepared for resisting these quantum computers using using a cryptocoin that is resistant to the quantum computation. And just to wrap up, thank you very much for your attention. And this presentation has lots of animations and drawings, and many people contributed, and among them my children.
Tenemos tiempo para un par de preguntas únicamente. Se estarán preguntando por qué hicimos la presentación en inglés. Es porque nuestros colegas en Alemania querían ver algunas de las conferencias y por eso pues la de esta mañana y mañana por la mañana serán en inglés. Entonces, si tienen algunas preguntas, podemos pasarles el micrófono.